You're locked into R&B now. Right now, I'm on FaceTime with Rode James. We're about a week away from the release of his sophomore album, Mantic. How are you
Yes,
feeling? Do you get
yes.
pre-album jitters?
Yo, I can't say that I have before, but this time I have it. This time I have the jitters. Like, oh,
But look, El Dorado was a great album. You got
yeah,
Grammy nominated for that project.
yeah,
And I remember you in an interview, maybe this was about a year after the project dropped, you were saying that that was very much about your journey and where you'd come from. And just
yeah,
already in those few months that passed, so much had changed in your life in terms of
yeah.
relationships, things you've learned. And so the project didn't come out soon after that. So I'm wondering, now that it's been 4 years and you've been through so
Yeah.
much as a person, what was really your starting point for creating this album?
Wow. It was a little bit, it was interesting and challenging because, like you said, El Dorado came out 4 years ago, and then even 2 years after the album came out, I was still touring. So, usually you take the break away from tour and then you go and do the album. So for me, I was just on the road constantly, so I didn't have those breaks. But I always want to say something in my album. So it was like really, I had to take the moment away to really absorb all that I had, learned in my experiences and places I've traveled, people I've met, and just really figure out how I wanted to approach it this time. And I had gotten out of a relationship and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna use that. But to be honest, I recorded and made most of this music like 2 years ago, right in the middle of my process. So at this point, I've recorded like 3 albums. So this is just the first one of the ones to roll out.
Ah, I see. So we have a lot of music on the way.
Yes, yes, yes.
What was your approach, just musically speaking? Like, what sounds were inspiring you? How did you want the album to sound?
Coming out of El Dorado, I felt like El Dorado was its picture on my wall, and then the next and my different painting for me using completely different colors. If you know what I mean, I just wanted to paint a whole different picture and give people a different perspective of me, but still me. And I feel like with albums, you really can't roll out all of your influences because people need to box you into a thing so they understand you. Coming to Mantic, it was like I decided to do, at first, I was just kind of trying to decide how I wanted to do it because Mantic is part of Romantic. So but I really didn't want people to get caught up and think it was a romantic album and put me in this Urban AC box. Like, oh, he's an old guy. He isn't a love. Like, nah, man. Like, I'm trying to really redefine what women listen to when it pertains to like love music or love songs because we don't really have that. You know what I mean? So this album, I was like, the best way that I can do it and not sell myself short is to put it in the form of an anthology to where it's like every is its own story, but it all pertains to the Mantic. And like I said, romantic, taking myself out of the Mantic word, the word romantic, taking ro out, and you have Mantic, kind of digging deep, but then making sure it wasn't too deep to where people can understand it on the surface as well. But then allowing people to dissect every song for what it is. I put out a couple of singles at this point just because it's been 4 years and I wanted people to really get used to my voice again and get used to what I'm trying to do, but not keep me as El Dorado, but welcome a new version of self because after 4 years, think about everyone. You've evolved even after a year, even after 3 months, even after 6 months. You either level up or you're complacent with where you are. And if you're leveling up and challenging yourself to do better and be better, you there's so many things that you've learned to put into your music, but you just have to figure out how to categorize it and how to feed it to the people so they can receive it.
So, what was it like for you getting to collaborate with Brandy on this, who is a legend? You know what I mean? She
Amazing.
definitely helped to change and push the landscape forward. And then also Miguel, someone you've written with before. Do you feel like these are
Yeah,
some full circle moments for you on the project?
absolutely. First of all, Brandy, like you said, is a legend. I've been listening to Brandy forever. Full Moon still like crazy. So when my boy DJ Camper I worked with him on last album. Already knew that, and he'd been working with Brandy on her new album. And so they were inviting me to the sessions that she was working, and I was just listening, and I was like, yo, it's about to be crazy. The music's crazy. So, I had told her, I was like, yo, we got to do something. And she and I had a show, and we met again. And then we met again, and then it was like, yo, we have to do something. So we were just talking one day, and she invited me to a session she was having in LA, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna pull up. I pulled up, and I was just listening to what she was doing, and I played her the song Plan B because I already had it done, and I was like, it was like really close to being done, but I was like, it needs something. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but I played it for her, and she loved it, and I was like, really? And she was like, she wanted to do something on it. I was like, please, what could you do on this? And she said I could add some ghost vocals and some harmonies and some backgrounds. I was like, come on, who don't want backgrounds from Brandy? Like, chill. So she got on it, and it was like, it was exactly the lift that the record needed. And it's just about that moment in a relationship when you know that it might not be working, and you have to have that real conversation with each other. Like, listen, this might not be working between us. Why don't we take a moment away and go live? And if energy and life brings us back together, supposed to be. And plan A might not work, but there's always plan B. And as long as we communicate and keep that cordial energy, that we can always come back to it. So yeah.
Plan B, that's not an easy conversation to have,
No,
So, and I think a
it's
lot of
not.
people have been there and can probably relate to it. So it's great that you actually
For
put
sure.
that into a song.
Yes.
All right. So how did it feel now to come from, writing with Miguel to have him featured on your own album?
Wow. So me and Miguel, actually, that's my bro. That's family. I've known him for a while, and I've watched his creative process. And to be honest, I met Mark Pitts and all of that family that I'm signed to through working with Miguel. So it just kind of like all came together. Me and him been friends and just watching. So to keep it short, I think it's great. It's finally time for us to start working and doing things. I just needed to put my sound out first because a lot of people were like, "You're like a Miguel." Like it's like, nah, we're bros, but we totally different artists. You know what I mean? And this is, like I said, our first chance to really show our camaraderie as artists and as brothers and put it out for the world.
So do we think like outside of the project, will we see more collaborations between people like you and BJ the Chicago Kid and Luke James? It seems like you guys have a really good vibe together. You dropped a
Yeah,
song together last year. Can we expect more of that?
we're actually gonna do a project together, but Luke put out his project, BJ put out his project. I was holding mine, just waiting for things in particular. But so now I'm gonna release mine, and I feel like it was just important for us to put out our own individual works again first, because sometimes people put you in a bunch and then they put you as that type of artist, but really I'm Ro James over here, BJ's BJ, and Luke is Luke. And the power of that is bringing us all together and us creating a sound and a synergy that is different, you know what I mean? And something that people don't expect. So that's what we're working on right now. We're going to do a little, I don't know if it's going to be an album, it's going to be an EP. I don't know. But
It's gonna be
yeah, I love
something though.
working
We'll
with them.
take it.
It's going to
We'll
be fire.
definitely
It's
take
going to
what
be
we can
fire.
get. All right, but yo, Mantic is out. That's going to be streaming on Apple Music May 29th. Ro James,
Yes.
congratulations on this project.
Thank
Shake
you.
off those jitters. It's going to be
You
great.
already
Fans are
know.
looking forward to it, right?
Yes, yes.